Hey everyone, we're Crobot, and that just happened.
Hey guys, what is happening? It is Front Row Joe. I'm here with the guys from Crobot.
Yeah.
And newly indoctrinated into the rodeo. Is that your second gig, I guess, now, Chi?
What, rodeo?
Yeah.
This hat was handed down from my great-grandfather to his mother, and she gave it to me out of the womb.
Really? You probably fit. You probably fit in it.
Yeah. It's still smelly.
A little afterbirth in the rim there. That's pretty gross. No, but certainly appreciate you guys coming and spending some time with us here. I definitely want to let you know, and I think some of you mentioned after a couple of the shows, but we first saw you at the Steel Panther show in St. Petersburg a couple of days ago.
Wow.
And said we got to sit down with these guys and find out what they're all about. So apologies for just now getting to know who Crobot is, but better late than never.
Absolutely, and you're in it now. You get to smell what this stage getup smells like. You're nose deep in it now, so you're getting up close and personal.
Essence of the front man. Yeah, I got it. I like it. No, so we definitely had to sit down with you, find out what Crobot was all about. So I definitely appreciate you guys hanging with us. Definitely want to talk about the new album that dropped this year. When was that again?
October, August
23rd,
2012.
Yeah, fresh off the presses, basically. But yeah, so Motherbrain is described as a little darker, a little bit harder, and you guys all agree to that. But also too, you said this particular album, Brandon, was a kind of a rebirth. Talk about birthing. You said it was a rebirth for the band. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean we've gone through some changes. We're on a new label now, and you know, we've had a lot of time to just think about what Crobot is to us and what the sound is and how we want to evolve as a band. And I think that was a conscious effort for this record, is to just move forward.
Yeah. And you mentioned new label. The new label suggested that you try out some co-writers, which is a first for you guys. So how was that initially met whenever that was pitched to you? Because it'd been your baby for, you know, it'd been kept in-house up until that point.
Yeah, I think we started kind of doing it on our own, just working with as many people as we could, because, you know, one of the fortunate things of touring our butts off the last couple of years is we've got to meet a lot of really cool musicians that we look up to and respect, and thankfully have these open means of communication to just hit them up and say, hey, can we come over and jam for a little bit, and whatever happens. And you know, but there were also some co-writes on the record that were the label's initiation, and we just like to work with anybody. You can learn anything from anybody, so we're always open to it.
That's very cool. So it happened kind of organically once the idea was pitched. Is there, now that it's out there and you've done it, is there anyone maybe that you have in mind that you might want to ask in the future? Who's a dream collaborator?
Well, we wrote a song with Tim Salt from Clutch, and it just didn't end up fitting the record, you know, with you know. But it's a great song, so maybe we'll use it in the future. But I'd love to do another one with Tim, you know, or, you know, Neil or JP, any of those guys.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Or just like, you know, maybe we form a super group with Clutch and just make a record. That would be awesome.
Call it Clutch Bot or something. I don't know. That'd be awesome. Yeah, for sure. Well, let's since we had the microphone in your face, let's stick with you again. See you guys only a couple nights ago live, and what a show! But I knew that I was in for a treat whenever I looked up and you walked out with your guitar with eye bolts and D-rings on it. I knew there was something that was going down. Why? Tell the audience why that is your rig.
Well, I just care so little about my gear that I'll just screw anything in it. I mean, I throw my guitar, so throughout the years, I've figured out what does and doesn't work. And those big eye hooks are like the only thing that does work anymore. That and carabiners, yeah. But I've had everything, and the fact that I have really acidic sweat, like it eats through about anything, so have to be careful.
I got you. So I got to ask, whenever that was coming about, any guitars through the roof?
Well, there was one time I threw it and I heard a big crash, and I thought I hit the drums. And I turned around and looked, and we couldn't find my guitar, and it had wrapped in the light, on the lighting truss in the air, and it was just hanging in the air. So the sound guy had to get a ladder and get it down.
That's awesome. That's exactly what I could picture.
Yeah.
Something going wrong.
Pretty awesome. Yeah. The guitar was like pretty much in tune too. Still, just like ringing out feedback. Like,
you're like, I meant to do that.
I was like, yeah, song ended.
That's great. Well, and newest member of the group down here, Eddie, not to be outdone, you've got a particular move that I'm going to dub shaking the bad baby with your with your bass. How did that come about?
I don't know. It's
Shake the bad baby.
It's always during burn, because like I just kind of ring out and I just grab the bass and I'll swing the shit out of it. And I used to do stuff because I grew up playing in like hardcore bands and stuff, so it's just kind of all trickling back from that and just bringing some of that stuff into the hard rock world. I guess you could say.
Shaking the bad baby or swatting at flies, maybe. That's one too. Yeah. That.
Ghostbusting.
Gotcha. Well. Again, I have to, seeing you guys live, I have to ask, Chris, besides Tina Turner and Reba McEntire, who else are your influences?
Those are two of my best shirts.
I'm glad you got the connection.
What's another good shirt? I've got a really good Snoop Dogg. Oh, my Tasmanian Devil shirt. Okay. Legit from like 88, I think it was printed. Okay. Yeah.
So this isn't a reissue. This is original.
No,
vintage.
Vintage originals. I don't know, but yeah, I don't quite yet have a good Dolly shirt. I haven't found one because there's only like 3 or 4 that everyone has. So I want to get a weird one, like that Reba shirt. Yeah.
That was classic.
That's my favorite one by far, though.
Yeah. I like that one for sure. Dan, I want to throw it over to you real quick. These guys have moves. You have the falling and I can't get up microphone come back to me. The boomerang mic. I don't know. Do you? I watched you for a little while. Do you have any signature moves for the live shows?
Man, I just try to headbang absolutely as hard as I can. That's pretty much all I'm trying to do. I do some circles, but I've got both hands tied up. They're generally always doing something, so that's about all I can do. Yeah. Maybe I'll stand up and point. But no one cares. But Steel Panther does that a lot better than I do, so I can't steal their move.
So you say leave it to those guys. Yeah. I got it. Speaking of Steel Panther, you guys are on the road with him. You have toured with all kinds of people. Clutch and Volbeat and Black Label Society, and now you're with a Steel Panther. So I want to ask you, Dan, what is the main difference that you've seen between that fan and a Steel Panther fan now that you've seen a couple shows?
It's the titties. See, there's actually girls out of the show. I don't know what to do with myself. It's crazy. No, they're just hard rock fans. They're just out to have a good time. And from the get-go, it's just rowdy, and it's not about who's looking tough or whatever. It's just everyone's open to just good music and having a good time. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun for sure, and definitely boobies for sure. Yeah, that's not a bad thing to look out and see in the crowd, right?
It's a little different. Yeah, we're not used to it.
Never have that at a normal Crobot show.
Most
Never.
Crobot shows are just dudes that look like Bishop and I.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Rush. That's the thing. Is like, hey, I saw what was it? I Love You, Man. It was like, hey, I saw 3 girls at our show tonight. That never happens. That's awesome. So let's talk about some of the great venues that you've played. Again, you've played all over the world, internationally, here domestically, but also on the high seas, Shiprocked. And I want to get your, if you can remember, because before we turned on the cameras, we were kind of going back and forth about when it actually was. I know for a fact it was 2016. You say there might be another time, 2014 or whatever, but if you can remember back to the first time that you played that the Shiprock, what was your impression walking away from that?
I'm gonna do this a little differently next time, because
Pace yourself, or
yes, going hard the entire time. I really tried, and a lot of people succeed, but I did not.
Yeah.
I did not succeed.
And what about you, Bishop?
Well, that was the first time we met a lot of people and created a lot of friendships that lasted a long, strong to this day. Like, that's when we first met Wilson, and James ended up playing bass for us for a while, and long time road friends, and like people that were there, we ended up meeting on the road and coming out to see us, and or they would cook us dinner, and like just awesome shit like that. So I mean that by far that's the coolest thing about Shiprocked.
Yeah. So you gained, you kind of expanded your family then, as it were. Yeah.
For sure. Is fucking Rum DMC over here or something? Jesus Christ.
That's Michael Starr. Yeah, that's Michael Starr. Well, let's wrap up before they get too rowdy with the sound check. I let you guys know the impetus behind the name of That Just Happened. So I wanted to ask, and this is how we wrap up our interviews. Wanted to ask what That Just Happened moment for you pops out in the front of your brain, and I'll start right to left. We'll start with you, Dan.
It would have to be when I joined the band and I saw a Craigslist ad for them, and I clicked on it, and it was real, and then they were actually real people. I was like, I'm not getting, there's no catfish anywhere around here. Yeah. So and then all of a sudden they called me up to go on tour. I was like, well, that just happened, and I just dropped everything, and here we are.
Yeah, that's a good one. That turned out great.
Yeah, it doesn't suck. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, what about you, Brandon?
Oh man, I know we all have the same one in our head right now, so let's just collectively tell the story.
Okay.
So we were playing last time. We played the Viper Room on the Sunset Strip. We had our then tour pals in He Is Legend were playing across the street. Actually, their van got broken into. A bunch of stuff got stolen out of their van. So we were outside trying to figure out if we actually wanted to stay on the strip and sleep in the van. And while we were trying to figure that out, at the light in front of us, somebody rear-ended someone, and we all heard this big boom, look out, and it turns out that Mr. Ron Jeremy himself had just rear-ended somebody in front of us. And
we just hear Brandon, the crash, and Brandon goes, "That's fucking Ron Jeremy." And sure enough, it was. And go ahead, Brandon.
Oh no, I'm gonna pass it on down.
Yeah.
So, like we were like, we should go help him, or like push his car out of the fucking road or something. So we go over there, and he's like, hey guys, are any of you guys medical professionals? And he's got like a little scratch on his arm. We're like, no. And he's like, I lost my keys. And we're like thinking, well, you just fucking got in a wreck. You had your keys. He's like, does anyone have good eyes? And I was like, sure, I'll look for him. I rummaged around in his car, it's like headshots and shit everywhere, and like sure enough, the keys were in his pocket. And we pushed it over there, and we got out, and he's like,
well, we got him to the side of the road, and he got out, and he was like, do any of you guys know anything about cars? And I was just sitting there looking at him. I don't know a lot about cars, but it's not supposed to look like that.
Yeah, and at the very end, I was like, oh man, hey, we're Crobot. We've met you like three or four times at festivals. And he's like, like didn't give a fucking shit whatsoever.
And he asked us to give him a ride. He was like, do you guys think you can give me a ride? He's like, but I'm only like a mile down the road or something. Really well, like, sure. And then he's like, oh, it's fine. I'll go to this gas station. They're all my friends, and I'll figure it out or something. So we left him. We pushed his car to the gas station, like made sure he was fine, and then we went back. But before we went back, I made sure to go to where everything was broken on the street and grabbed a piece of his headlight to commemorate it.
That is awesome.
It's still in our van. It lives in our van.
Is it really? Okay, so you got like a keepsake from that. That is Ron Jeremy memorabilia. Oh, that is so awesome. I love it. That's definitely a That Just Happened moment for sure. Well, guys, again, thank you so very much for spending time with us. Can't wait for the show tonight. And for everyone that has not checked them out, definitely go see Crobot. That Just Happened.